If you've been around for a little while, you know that I'm a huge video game guy, right? I have YouTube channels that cover video games. I live stream on Twitch video games a few days a week, as well as I've been playing video games forever, man. Nintendo, Atari, you name it. And today's SCP reaction that we're doing is from the Zueljin about a video game. It's got a Nintendo cartridge in the thumbnail. I'm excited. It's SCP-4054 called The Seventh Door, and we're going to react to it today, guys. Make sure to subscribe to the Zueljin, and let's get into this reaction.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Dr.
I'm
Miller.
Dr. Miller.
Look at his
and
cartridge,
the SCP
man.
we're going to be looking at today
It's like a Mario game.
is SCP-4054. Object
class safe.
Safe.
Okay. Special
containment procedures. 3 NES, Nintendo Entertainment System consoles, modified to run SCP-4054
So it's gotta be modified.
are to be kept for testing purposes.
Okay.
SCP-4054 is to be stored on site in a secure locker.
You ever have to blow in the cartridges?
To level 3 personnel and above.
Okay.
Foundation agents monitoring flea markets, yard sales, and property auctions for anomalous activity are to be briefed on the existence of SCP-4054.
All right.
Any NES cartridges suspected of being copies of SCP-4054 are to be purchased for examination.
Gotcha.
A Foundation-operated bot, IO Sauron, is to monitor online gaming communities for discussions regarding the existence of SCP-4054. A joint operation involving Mobile Task Force Mu-4, debuggers, and Mobile Task Force Gamma-5, Red Herrings, is to be conducted to investigate these discussions and determine whether the participants are aware of SCP-4054.
Okay.
All copies are to be recovered, and action is to be taken to discredit the existence of SCP-4054 as a hoax or urban legend.
Remember when everything
captures
was
or
square
videos
glass
of
and not
SCP-4054 are to be removed or otherwise replaced with doctored images to further perpetuate this narrative.
Gotcha. Okay.
Description.
So they just trying to keep it secret, just
SCP-4054
like
is
they
the
do
Seventh
everything
Door,
else.
an unlicensed platform adventure game released for the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1988.
Okay.
The contents of each cartridge vastly exceeds the storage limitations of its ROM chip, read-only memory. Extracting SCP-4054's PRG-ROM produces a data file too large to be contained on any currently available device.
Wow.
Because of its limited publication, 300 units,
huge, right?
inability to be copied, limited replayability, and incomplete state, functional copies of The Seventh Door are highly valued by vintage NES collectors.
Of course.
The game is also notable for its unique method of bypassing the North American version of the 10 NES lockout system. The 10 NES lockout system was designed by Nintendo to prevent unlicensed cartridges from operating on their consoles.
It's like
Each
some of the
cartridge
early versions
includes
of
2
piracy.
transistors that function as a voltage inverter. When activated, this component produces a negative charged voltage spike that can temporarily disable early versions of the console's CIC, checking integrated circuit, bypassing the authentication lock and allowing unlicensed cartridges to run.
Right.
Later iterations of the NES would add a series of 1K resistors along with diodes and grounds to prevent this technique from circumventing the lockout unit. However, a defect in this voltage inverter's design causes irreparable damage to the Seventh Door's SRAM, static random access memory. With each
you can't
successive
save it
reset,
if the SRAM is burnt.
this produces an increasing number of glitches which will inevitably render the cartridge non-functional.
I had some favorite games that
The Seventh Door was shipped prior to completion. As a consequence, several core components of gameplay differ from what is depicted in its instruction manual and box art.
Okay.
The protagonist has no extra lives. Upon dying,
So
all progress is lost. The cartridge resets.
No continues, no nothing.
All power-ups described in the manual are absent save one, the Hand of Glory. According to European folklore, a Hand of Glory is the left hand of a man who has been hanged for murder. When used as a candle, those who perceive its light cannot approach its holder, which prevents monsters and platforms from moving for 10 seconds. All monsters are absent. Falling into a pit does not kill the protagonist. The protagonist will instead continue to fall off screen as the game over sound loops. Memory overflow errors periodically cause sprites to load incorrectly.
Right.
The prisoners use the protagonist's sprite rather than their own. After unlocking a door, prisoners provide no clue regarding the location of other keys. The text boxes are empty.
Okay.
The protagonist dies at apparently random intervals, typically after a period of remaining still. This occurs regardless of whether or not the game is paused.
Interesting.
To date, researchers have uncovered several hundred levels beyond the 7th,
Wow.
described in the manual as the final level, and the location of the 7th key. These stages consist of vast networks of crypts, prisons, abandoned factories, and empty underground cities. The precise number of additional levels beyond the 7th has not yet been determined,
Maybe that's
but
why it's
vastly
so large.
exceeds the storage capacity of the cartridge's ROM chip.
Sure.
The 7th level does not contain the 7th key. Addendum
It's kinda
4054.
cool. I wonder if the Game Genie works on it, y'all.
Video stream. In 2004, Charles Rogers, an amateur NES cartridge collector, posted a thread at www.openingtheseventhdoor.int, a defunct online forum that was dedicated to the 7th door, under the username Inky49. There, he suggested using an NES Game Genie produced in 1990. The Game Genie is a game-enhancing module that attaches between the NES cartridge and console. It permits direct modification of reference addresses in the ROM of the cartridge via strings of characters or code to directly set the value associated with the protagonist's number of keys to 7.
Sure.
Several days later, Mr. Rogers posted a link to an online video stream where he intended to attempt to beat the 7th door using this exploit. Partway through his run, the video abruptly stopped. A follow-up investigation determined that Mr. Rogers had gone missing. Authorities suspected foul play after discovering several fingernails torn from Mr. Rogers' left hand inside his NES console. No copy of the 7th door was recovered. To date, SCP-4054 has been linked to 25 disappearances.
Wow!
It remains under investigation.
What a spooky little game, man.
Well, what can you really say about this one? I'm sorry, fellow gamers. This one, it's probably best to stay away from.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you all for listening, if indeed you still are, and you are all dismissed.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vulcan, this was really, really cool. I love SCPs that surround video games and stuff like that because I'm such a gamer at heart, you know. This was a weird one. I liked it too, though. I hope y'all did too, guys. Make sure to check out the Vulcan's channel and subscribe to him, as well as a couple other reaction videos that I think you'll love. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off. We'll see you next time.